gotta know how to move, you gotta know how to shoot, you gotta know that this is a 360 world we live in. So you have to incorporate into your training checking 360, assessing other shooters in a real world situation. If there's an active shooter, how do you know who the bad guy is? You need to be able to read the environment and look at individuals and say, well, look at their weapons posture. If you understand things like weapons posture, you know that person's trained or untrained. Law enforcement in general, I have an affinity for. I see these guys on the front line. They're out there daily, putting their lives on the line. A lot of these officers that come here and train with me, I mean, that's their biggest complaint. They just don't feel ready. I hear that all the time. I don't feel ready to be in an engagement.
We'll start from extended ready. So extended ready, you're pointed at the target, guys.
They should be getting whatever they need to train and sustain and be ready for any fight.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Pretty much what it's going to come down to is who's trained and who's not trained when the fight happens.
The reality is we want to be able to put this weapon system in the proper position based on the environment. The environment dictates where I put this gun or this muzzle. Okay, one of the principles is I shouldn't flag anything that doesn't need to be flagged. You think about the real world, and if you ever had to draw your weapon in an active shooter situation and you got law enforcement that rolls up on the scene, okay, being former law enforcement, I can pretty much pick out who's a professional and who's not just by how the weapon's postured. If somebody's walking around, they're flagging that weapon, putting it at everybody around them, then I pretty much know they have no training or zero training, okay? So I know that I gotta pretty much watch that person and be fixated on that. Whereas if I see somebody who has an appropriate weapons posture based on what their environment is around them, then I know that this person has some training. Does that make sense?
Okay, we're gonna do a 360 threat drill with a fight to standing, okay?
You might find yourself in a supine position, whether you put yourself in that position for a reason, okay, whether you're trying to back away from a threat, the threat was immediate and you decided to go into a supine position while engaging a threat, or maybe some circumstance in the environment put you there, you got knocked down and you're on your back. You should be able to fight from any position on the ground. So we're gonna demo this drill for you guys, show you what we're talking about. The drill will start with you guys standing. You'll be starting with the targets in front. I'll say, stand by, ready, fire. You'll engage those targets in a standing position.
What I want is I want people to think, okay? The environment dictates how you place your muzzle. It should be in the safest position as possible. So if I always tell you low ready, that's not always gonna be the safest position. So you have to be able to think, okay, high ready, low ready. So when we do our drills, hey, I'll give you the option. If you make an infraction as an instructor, I'm gonna, say, it's probably better if you come to a high ready for this position. If you're too close or you swept his leg, or you swept your own leg.
Then I'll call down. You'll take a knee, engage both targets 2 to 4 times, stand by for the next command. Down again will be you going to the supine position. You have to know how to get to the supine in such a way that you don't damage yourself getting down there. So we don't want to just fall back into a position, especially with kit on. We want to get to that position as controlled as possible. Also, as I'm going into a supine position, I should be able to engage targets while I'm going into supine.
What we're trying to do here is instill these little things. This is about skill sustainment. This is not meant to take the place of live fire training. But if you work these skills constantly, okay, when you actively have to do this in real life, it's going to be so much easier.
So if I call threat left, you're going to turn to that position and engage the targets to the left. I may call threats right. Same thing, you'll change positions and engage targets threat right. Threats rear, you'll engage targets to the rear. So the benefits of having the CERT Pro or a CERT Bolt for this is that you can do this drill at home. You can't do this drill for the most part on, I think, 90% of the ranges that are out there. All right, they're not going to allow you to shoot 360 in this configuration. But the benefit of this is that you can actually practice these movements, okay, with a CERT Pro pretty safely. Okay, shooter ready, stand by, fire! Threats right, threats left, threats front, down, Threats left. Threats right. Threats front. Down. Let's do this. When you come to supine, go all the way to your back. So you're kind of in this crunch trying to shoot. Just, you can engage as you're going down all the way, but just don't hold yourself in a crunch. Just go to supine right away, okay? When you're in that supine position here, boom, and you fall back, right? I'll call threats left first, that way it'll be easier, but make sure you're throwing this leg over, it's key.
Okay.
From here, boom, throw the leg over. From here, engage that position.
Okay.
And then when I say threats back, drive the gun that way, okay? From here, bang, 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 bang. Okay, you're just looking to just extend as much as possible.
Okay.
Threats front, from here, you're already there. Just gotta drive the gun. See what happened with the gun, it just went.
Yep.
12 o'clock, okay? I didn't sweep out and around, I went up and over, okay? So again, just full muzzle awareness. Down. Down. Threats left. Stay high, low. Threats right. Threats back. Good, Dave. Threats front. Pivot around. Engage, there you go. Up. Speed reload. Check 6. Up. Good job. Now relax.
Well, for one, I mean, for me, I think I'm definitely going to use it, as we mentioned, the shakeout kit, right? Because as you talked about before, I popped the mag out. It just went flying out. That's no good, right? And then I like how you were talking about, just shifting with your hips to get into different positions, because you can just do real quick, changes and shifts to get you into that spot. But if you haven't practiced it, which I'm definitely going to start incorporating in my daily training.
You got to check 6 before you stand, making sure you don't standing in somebody else's lane of fire.
Right.
Realistically, that can happen obviously in law enforcement, military, but in the civilian world as well, where you've got a ton of people out there carrying concealed, and they're all probably wanting to deal with the same threat you're dealing with.
No, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That was great.
Well,